What is up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. So I Love a Mama's Boy. We're on season 3, all the way through episode 9 of this season. First things first, Robert, Christy, and Nancy weren't on this episode. So if you were waiting to see where their relationship ended up, because as you know, last we saw them, it appeared that Robert was going to be spending a lot less time with his mom, and Christy was going to be spending no time with his mom. So we're going to see where that ended up next week. So I want to jump in because we saw something very serious happen this week, a breakup. A breakup happened on the show, and I want to get into that and kind of unpack this because Trey and Abby have decided to call it quits. And I know you had early predictions about them this season, and some of this kind of solidifies how you felt because you felt that they were just friends and you didn't see any romantic connection. And when we saw this situation unfold, we saw Trey talk to his friend and his friend's dad. They were telling him how the relationship with his mom was going to hinder them being married and them being happy. And Trey didn't seem to be bothered. And he even said in one of the interviews, I don't ever see the relationship between me and my mom changing. So that kind of led Abby to make the decision to walk away. And it's always bad to see when people break up, especially when there's a child involved. But how do you feel about her decision? Do you agree with Abby? Do you think that this was the right way to go? Or do you think it had already happened? They just hadn't made it official?
She made this choice before the show even aired. I believe that they weren't even in the same house because don't you find it interesting that in the final scene where she gets a bag and she's just walking out and she wasn't going to say anything. And then he's like, where are you going? And she's like, I'm leaving. And then he's nonchalant, like she's about to go to the grocery store. And the
Right.
only thing she has with her is one single Vera Bradley bag. It's like you lived in this house with this man and been with him since forever. And all you have in your life choices is one overnight bag, but you said you're never coming back. I'm telling you, I have felt that they inserted themselves in this show and it was scripted from the start because no person that has that much chemistry and a child involved is not going to be heartbroken when somebody decides to leave. He didn't even fight for her. He just let her walk out the door. That's what led me to believe that they had already come to this decision before filming and they were reenacting to so that way it made sense on their decision making. She knew he was a mama's boy from the start. They said she knew the mom before she even knew him, so she knew all along. She knew all along about their relationship and she had a kid with him. But I just think that if you have that much chemistry and that much history with somebody, there should be more emotions involved, and from both parties it was so dry.
Yeah, it was very emotionless, and the hug was a friend hug. When she was getting into the truck, that was like such a "I'll see you later, bestie" hug. It wasn't like, "Oh my God, my life is changing. This is the last day that we're gonna be in a romantic relationship." You're right. I don't see how if what they were selling us was true, how it was so easy for him to just let her walk away after 7 years of being together, after coming home to her every day, after all of that they have been through, for him to just say, okay, see you later. So I
Mhm.
want to talk about Brittany, right? So we found out some information from Brittany. Well, first of all, let's fast forward. We found out some information from Matt first, right? So Matt told us that after he was ambushed at the restaurant by Brittany and her boss Vicky, he blocked her. And we found out from Brittany that he blocked her and all of his friends blocked her. But what we didn't know was he was also talking to someone else. And Brittany asked him this at the meeting and he denied it. He said that he was not seeing anyone else. But in actuality, he is seeing someone else named Devin, who's a little older than him and has 2 teenage sons. And what's even more interesting is Kelly once again was left in the dark because if you know from the first season, Kelly was fully immersed in everything going on in Matt's life, from his work to his social life to his relationships. So there's definitely some growth in Matt because Matt is definitely taking his relationships to a more private level. He is trying to build strong bonds without getting Kelly involved first because, once Kelly gets involved, things tend to go south. But what we're surprised by is he said that within a year, he wants to propose to her and get married. And we were just as shocked as Kelly because we're like, first of all, you were just dating Brittany like a week ago. Second of all, you're dating someone at the same time and you're ready to get married. Like, where do we go from here?
See, there's a lot going on with this situation because he had said that he was like, it was nothing serious or whatever, but Brittany had stated that they had dated for 7 months. It was big enough for you to introduce her to your mother. And it was big enough for you guys to hang out and to, have her sleep over your house and whatnot. I mean, there was no talks of anybody else. He seemed
Right.
to be so adamant about Brittany. So if he had intentions of dating this other woman, Devin, I don't understand what was the purpose of Brittany's situation, bringing her into the mix, introducing her to his mom, unless he knew his mom was going to react the way that she did. And he wanted to kind of like use that as a ploy so that way he could ease himself out of the relationship. But it backfired when he went to lunch and her manager was there. I don't know. I always have my speculations, but I just think that it's crazy because he seems like he's like really into this Devin, and nobody even knew who she was or heard of her. And I just think that it's sad though, because Brittany seems like a cool girl. I mean, obviously it makes it hard when your, loved ones are not on board with your relationship, especially if you're trying to make it long term, and he's best friends with his mom. So that makes it hard as well. But I don't think that it was very fair. And even Kelly agreed that we don't have to say two-timed, but that he kept this relationship going with her.
Yeah.
And, you know, instead of like trying to be the bigger person on both ends and just talking it out and saying, look, this relationship isn't going anywhere. I'm really sorry. Let's just part ways. You block the person. And it's
Yeah.
like you give no, like, you don't let the person heal. You don't let the person have the chance to heal their soul and get their moment out and say, you wronged me or I'm upset or whatever. They don't get to have that moment. And it's like, that's why people can't let the past be, because they don't get a chance to mend the moment. And I think like you don't have to be with Brittany. You don't have to be with anybody, but you can at least be the bigger person and be like, Brittany, look, it's not working out. I really don't like the situation with you bringing your manager into this. My mom obviously feels some type of way about our relationship as well. Maybe we could try to be friends. If not, I had fun while it lasted. And I'm sure she would have been hurt maybe, but she would have agreed in the end. It would have been a better look. It would have been a better look on all parties' ends.
Well, Brittany has put her detective hat on and she knows where they are. So I was speculating maybe she's going to show up at the winery and get that explanation that she deserves. I didn't see it in the previews, though. That's what I was hoping for, because she does deserve just to hear what happened, why it didn't work out, why they broke up. If it was something she said, he said, someone did. Like you said, everyone deserves to heal and have closure and be able to move on. So I'm wondering if Brittany is a good detective, if she's going to roll up on them and just ask the questions that she needs to ask. Because 7 months is a long time to get no explanation whatsoever. All right, guys, that's it for part one. We're going to come back with part two and talk about Ethan, Lena, and Esther and a pool party. And there's something called Baby Baby that we're going to explain to you guys. And we're going to talk about that dinner with Layla and Emily and Yusra and Shakib. And it went just as well as we suspected. Guys, I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host, Heather C. Make sure you're live tweeting with us every Sunday night for I Love a Mama's Boy. It's right after 90 Day Fiancé. And we'll talk to you all really soon.